Hi, I'm Christie, and this is my van, Betty. When I first got to Canada, I was on this tiny island between Vancouver Island and the Sunshine Coast. I lived in a tent for like 6 weeks. I was volunteering on a whale watching camp. This island was like 2 kilometers long by 1 kilometer, and there was wolves, black bears, grizzly bears, like everything just in the area, and I was so excited about it. I was right basically on the beach, like just a few meters back from the beach. You'd hear humpback whales like coming up for breath, like right next to me. Like I'd wake up because it'd be like it was just the most amazing thing. And the first 3 nights, I think I slept like an hour each night. A squirrel in the forest sounds like a bear. And on like my 3rd day there, and I was finally like, this is fine, I'm getting used to it, nothing's gonna eat me, like ignore the bear poo, like everything's fine. A mountain lion walked right past my tent whilst I was asleep inside of it. And I remember waking up and hearing these crows just going mad and like squawking. I was like, why? I've just fell asleep like an hour ago. And then I got up, the 2 of the guests were like, oh, look what we just saw and took a picture of, and there's this mountain lion just sat on the beach like 2 meters in front of my tent whilst I was in it. And I finally convinced myself that there was no wildlife around that would hurt me, and then I was like, great. I got on the boat back to Vancouver Island, which is still like amazing. As soon as I moved into like the staff housing where I was working, I couldn't sleep for like a week. The noises, there's nothing like, it's like being in like a cell. Like there's no stimulation for your brain at all. And just going back to easy living, like I was using an outhouse and stuff before, and like dealing with all the practicalities of that, and you know, cooking outside, just doing everything outside. And I just realized how happy I was just in my tent, just with my few possessions. Like I had a book, a headlamp, and that was it. And I was so happy. And then to go to being from that to really unhappy, I was like, something's missing and I have to fix it. So I started looking, and I found it again, because I can wake up in places like this and be like, I'm stoked. This is my 31-year-old GMC Vaandrager 1986. 364,000 kilometers for 2,100 Canadian dollars. And it's a getaway van. People always like to make the joke when I break down, like, oh, you can't get away in a getaway van. Like, you're like the 70th person that said that. I don't use the awning. It does work, but I'm never really in one place for long enough, and it's never really that rainy. This slides out. There's a mesh bug net on the inside which let air in, which is a really nice way because things don't tend to like to climb in too much up through there. This opens out. This side is locked shut, which is great. The other side is super easy to break into whenever I lock my keys in, which is at least once a week. This is like the coldest part of the van in the winter. Like so much air gets into here, no matter how much caulking I use. The ladder is fine, it's missing a rung, but just hop on up. That's got like caulking all around it for like just air leaks and water leaks. I had a mold issue in April where I had to basically gut the whole thing and demold it, and so I'm like super on like sealing everything where moisture could get in. A bird flew into my van and I was really sad about it, and it broke this, and I had to pull it out of my engine, but I buried it. Poor guy. I ripped out all of the floor under here, put new wood in, did a beautiful job of installing carpet. This used to be a big space, built some bookshelves. I've got like 2 rows of books, this is just the front row, and I'm running out of space rapidly for more. My main, like my easy go-to stove for cooking, this is what I would just pop out like on a picnic table or something. But then for camping, if I'm going backpacking or I just want to treat myself, I've got my MSR stove too. I just like to cook outside, it's just way more fun. And if I burn something, it smells like burnt for a long time. So face wipes, emergency coffee. I've got like 10,000 flasks, so I would never need to buy a coffee cup again in my life. My clothes are down here, this is my wardrobe. It all fits in this bag. Except my ski gear, that's buried in like the depths of the rest of my van. That's definitely a downsize from what I used to have. I used to have like 3 wardrobes full of clothes I never wore. So that's exciting. My shoes here. My mom's slippers, thanks mom. So the bed actually all folds back. The mattress is super heavy. I got it from the Reuse It Center here. And it would all fall back on itself to be compacted. And there's 2 bench seats here, and there's 2 sets of seatbelts on either side. But actually me and my friends have worked out that you can sit on the bed and the seatbelts come all the way out. So you can just lay in the bed and you still get your seatbelt on. I like to have my bed out all the time. I'm just moving around so much. I don't want it to take an hour for me to get from A to B because I've got to go through all my van. So I have it out. I have storage in the side there on top of the bench seat and storage underneath. And those bench seats are also massive like boxes where I can keep things that I just wouldn't need like in the summertime. Got my little garden that I've been working on here. I decided that I didn't really use the sink that much or enough to warrant just having that space. And so I've got some peppermint, some rosemary, and this bad boy, my air plant, which doesn't need any water, it just lives off of the air. Honey Nut Cheerios, the emergency cereal. This little thing is the best thing ever. It's a 10-litre collapsible, it was like $9 from Home Hardware, water tank. I got this, it's from like the 1940s, it's a picture of a cougar. But I feel like I should have it because of my mountain lion incident when I first got to Canada. Essentials, headlamp, Leatherman, this has saved me. So, girls, get this, this is what you need. One of these like big old Leatherman multi-tools. Best thing my dad ever gave me. Dishes here. Different things, like these things are amazing because they're all these different sizes. This thing, which you can drink out of as a mug or you can cook in it straight away. Got a big old pan, I've got an omelette maker, bowls, you know how it is. A mosquito net head bag, which is as cool as it sounds. So when the insects are getting super bad, this is how I sleep. Sleeping mat for outside sleeping, camping chair, skateboard, trying to learn how to skate. It's a really cool deck actually. Simple. Very happy with it. Not that good yet, but we'll get there. My friends always say this is like a Mary Poppins van, like there's just stuff everywhere. This is a basket, which is a Yoda head, which I got for $2. Toiletries, camera gear, everything I own fits into dry bags. I have so many dry bags. What's in here? Oh, okay. 2 beers, me and the brewery are on very good terms in this town. Kettle, beans and stuff, like that's a solid thing, like a good staple food, like chickpeas and kidney beans. Old juice bottles and stuff, filled with rice, or in this one, there's nuts, seeds. Stuff that you can just cook up with some water and some spices. This is like we don't really ever go in here. This has got all of my winter stuff in. You can fit like a person in there. There's so much space. But I don't know where to put something, it goes in here. And then we just close it. It's like that closet in Friends that no one's ever allowed to go into.
Oh my God.
Quick access stuff. Matches, flask, coconut oil, because you get really dry skin. Bear spray. Sounds stupid, but it's super important when you're here anyway. Cliff bar, instant noodles, water purification tablet. So that does that, and then you have to pull the seatbelt kind of like up and around so it's not like in your face. There you go. So I like to do this when I'm like chilling and I'm feeling a little bit cramped, and then I just come, move my curtain around, and I can just sit and chill, and I've got all the space in the world. Who needs more space than this? I didn't realize it did it by accident because I like kicked it one day and it just swiveled, and I was like, ah! How exciting. My driver's chair did it for a while, but that's gotten fixed now because it wasn't supposed to be doing that. It's easy to say like, oh, just think about what you need to be happy. I think you really have to experience it. I'd say go and try like maybe like a long camping trip or something, or if you know someone, everyone seems to know someone now that's got a van. Just think about all the material things that you have and how much money you could save if you didn't have them, if they didn't require constant upkeep. Think about how much time you spend where you live. Do you get up and go to work at 6 in the morning and come back at 9 o'clock at night and you're basically just there to sleep and you're paying $1,000 a month for it? When I first moved into it, I realized like how much time I spent like watching Netflix or just like doing nothing on my laptop, just like scrolling constantly. That's a great part about it. I make the most of my time. One thing I would say though is van life doesn't come like with a warm Instagram filter. Like it's not this dreamy like woodsy guy and really hot girl like sprawled out on like this amazing blanket with the ocean in the back. Like that's van life is having sand and like every nook and cranny and just being constantly dirty and like just loving every second of it, but it's not easy and that's why I like it. So existing was just too easy before, like I was just like nothing was stimulating, and it's hard and it's good and it's fun because it's hard because you're like, oh my, when something goes wrong you have to think about so much. When you're living in like a small space, whether it's in your tent or in a van or whatever, like you are really face to face with like reality. Like people sometimes, I hear people say like, oh, you're not living in the real world, and I'm like, I'm face to face like with the trash that I produce, like when I need the bathroom, it's right there in your face. So I actually see like how much impact I have. And since I've been in the van, I've probably reduced my waste by like 80%. Don't underestimate what you can do. You just learn like what's important and what's not, and it falls into place and you'll be happy.